What's happening, people? Welcome back to the channel. 12th Man is back. The Arsenal roundabout in the house. There's a few smiles on people's faces. Arsenal fans are getting excited. Arsenal fans are looking forward to what is 4 competitions that we're looking very good in. And right now, we're going to talk about that. We've got a brilliant panel for you. Before we introduce them, make sure you hit like and subscribe on this one. We're on the way to 60,000 subscribers. So let's make sure that we can get there, people, as a community. Make sure that you're following OK Jerseys. OK Jerseys have got a special Arsenal deal on at the moment. If you use the code down the bottom here, Dan15, Dan15, you'll get 15% off of the Bruised Banana kit and the last season at Highbury kit. You can get any name and number on the back of it from that era as well, whether you want Rocky or Righty, or if you're going to go for 2006 red currant shirt, then maybe you want Bergkamp or Henry or Pires or one of those guys. So go and show some love to that. But yeah, as Marty's got behind him, there you go. And as I've got behind me, the Bruised Banana, probably the two most iconic or two of the most iconic kits. I don't know if Kenny or Ken will agree with that, but we'll find that out in a bit. We've got a couple of more people that are coming on. They're just a little bit late. We've got Hooks that's going to jump on. We've got D that's going to jump on. We've got Brandon that's going to jump on. So we're going to thought we start with the was the 3 of us, but Kenny's just jumped in. So we're going to start with the 4 of us now because we are in a good place right now. I've got to be honest. Arsenal last night were a joy to watch. And if they can play like that, I'm going to get behind when people say what we're going to win this season, because that was a very, very impressive performance away from home against the team that, let's be real, in the San Siro is very difficult. Inter Milan were in the final last season. To only concede 2 goals, I think is pretty phenomenal. And the 2 goals we've conceded were, of course, at the San Siro and against Bayern Munich, who some say are the favourites to win this competition. We're in a good place. We're still in the Carabao Cup, 1 foot into the final, some people say. Some people are saying that the FA Cup we're favourites for, even though it's a little bit early. And people are saying that we're going to win the league. So I want to firstly put out a question, and I'll start with you, Marty. Are we getting a little bit carried away, or is it right to be excited? Big up to the panel, by the way. What are you telling me, Marty?
Look, I want to be excited. Look, I'm going to get excited about this whole season. And I've said this in August. And I've got every right to. When I look at this squad, I look at this team, there's vibes of 1990, vibes of 2003, vibes of like the 90s teams. Listen, I'm going to get excited. We're playing fantastic football. But listen, at times, not fantastic. We're getting the job done. We're getting results. And we're top of the Champions League. That game last night against Inter Milan, we played a rotated squad. And I'll be honest with you, like, we got it done. Like, even when the first goal went in 1-1, and I was like, there was no threat or there was no fear from my part of how this was going to go down. And when I look at the Carabao Cup, I look at it's a phenomenal season. The business season starts right here, right now.
It does. I've got to be honest, it does. This is the time to look at the season realistically. And Christian, we're in a very good place at the moment. What have you made of the last couple of games? It's been topsy-turvy, to say the least, about drop points at Liverpool, drop points against Forest, but then going and putting in that sort of performance against Inter Milan. I know they didn't low block and all that, so it's different to a Sean Dyche Forest team, but I've got to be realistic when I say this. I was very impressed with Arsenal last night. And I know Marty says we made some changes and we did rotate a bit, but that team that I watched, I just thought it just oozed class last night. I was very, very impressed with us going forward in attack for the first time in what has felt like a while. And I just felt like with some tweaks, we looked really good, brother. And at the moment, a lot of Arsenal fans are very excited about what we can win this season trophies-wise, as opposed to what are we going to win. And I don't know if people are going over the top and getting excited, but I can see why they're talking positively at the moment, bruv.
Bro, I've been talking positively since the summer. You know this.
Since I've met you.
Maybe not since I've met you. I've been very critical at times. No, the last 3 years, I never thought we were favourites for the league until this season. I always thought City were better. You know, last summer I didn't think we did enough in the transfer window. I thought we could still win it, but obviously we left ourselves short. And then January doing nothing as well. We were never going to win the league. Put the injuries on top of that. But yeah, I was confident going into this season. And I don't think they've disappointed. Has it been the most exciting football that we've played in the last 5 years? Definitely not. Has it been boring at times? 100%. You know, even the run of... I'm just looking at our recent results. Since Wolves, right? 13th of December. We didn't play well in that Wolves game. Managed to get the result. Everton away, we were all right. You know, with a better team, had chances to maybe kill it 1-0, we get the result. Crystal Palace at home, chances to kill it 1-1. We end up winning on penalties. The Brighton game at home, you know, 2-1. Obviously, David Raya makes the save of the month. I think it got voted from Minte. If he doesn't make that save, maybe it's 2-2, maybe we're drawing. So, efficient results. Obviously, we beat Villa 4-1, which was a great performance. Ironically, the only game we didn't have Declan Rice, which is... make of that what you will. Bournemouth 3-2, sloppy from Gabriel, like making a mistake in the first minute, but then scoring 3 goals. 0-0 against Liverpool in a drab performance, boring game. 4-1 Portsmouth Championship side, 3-2 Chelsea in the game we should have killed. 0-0 Nottingham Forest. They just sat back and, you know, we didn't take our chances. Martinelli, by the way, how can you produce that assist last night? Yeah, outside of your boot. He's in the left back position, somehow puts Gyokeres, a brilliant ball in behind to Gyokeres. But when you're 3 yards out against Nottingham Forest on your left foot, you can't put it in the net. It doesn't really make sense to me. But yeah, look, I think the word is efficient. You know, other years where we've been playing good football and it's been exciting, we haven't been as efficient. There's been games that we've drawn or lost where if we were a bit more pragmatic, we did have a bit more steel in that midfield or defensively, maybe we could have ground out results. So that's what we've been doing. It is looking good. Like Marty's saying, top of the league, 7 out of 7 in the Champions League, 1 foot in the Carabao Cup semi-final. This has all been said. But I completely agree with Marty as well that this is the business end of the season. This is where we need to really lock in. You know, I don't care what the football looks like from here. I genuinely don't. We played beautiful football under Mikel Arteta and won nothing. You know, if we scrape every game 1-0 from here and lift 2 trophies, I couldn't care less. So, yeah, man, it's looking good. But like I said, this is the business end of the season. We have been here before, and we haven't lifted anything. It does feel different. We have got the squad now, and also other teams don't look the same. Man City aren't the same, man. You can't look at that Manchester City team and tell me you're scared of them. You know, 4 draws and then losing to Manchester United and then losing to Bodo Glimt. Aston Villa losing at home to Everton, who I don't think were ever in the title race. Respect to them, but they ain't got the squad. So, yeah, man, it's looking like our year. But like I say, all that matters now is lifting those trophies.
I Christian,
Yo.
If we ever got smoked by Bodo Glimt the way Manchester City did, people would be dragging Arsenal and Arsenal fans and Arteta all over the gap.
100%. You know the difference though is that they get a bit of a pass because they've won. What have they won? 6 out of the last 8 leagues. Do you know what I mean, if we'd won, I get your point. 100%. The narrative would be different if it was Arsenal. But if we'd won 6 out of the last 8 leagues, we won a treble just now. We won the Champions League a couple of years ago. You can't really drag them like they can drag us. Where it comes to trophies and bottlers, Arteta, that is the difference. But I completely agree. Can't lose 3-1 to Bodo Glimt, man.
I thought it was embarrassing from City last night. I watched it, and look, don't take nothing away from Bodo Glimt, but it is Bodo Glimt. They lost to Tottenham in the semi-finals of the Europa League. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it is poor. But Hooks, brother, I know you can't make tomorrow's show. You've been telling everybody on that Thursday show that we're going to win the treble this season, my bro. And right now, we might even win a quadruple, bro, the way things are going. So you're going to regret saying we're not going to win a quadruple now, bro.
Look, yeah, if we go and grab the 4th trophy, then big up to the lads in it. That's all I'm saying. But all I know is, I've been getting dragged over YouTube for saying from the jump Arsenal are winning the league and we're winning the treble. And I actually said we're gonna be in the final of every cup that we're in. And right now, I'm right. You know what I mean? Right now, I'm the one that looks right. Yeah. So I keep on saying it. Yeah. I don't like the divide. Yeah. In the Arsenal fan base. Let me take all of you to the promised land. I'll split the sea like Moses and bring all of you to the promised land. It's time for us to link up and just admit, that we're cold. And you know what? Yeah, I want all the brothers that tapped out on Victor Gyokeres, yeah, to stay over that side. Yeah, stay over that side. Because look, hey, I saw a rumor, yeah, that he's got a new gal now. Maybe all he needed was a missus. Maybe that's all he needed. Maybe he was a bit lonely, wasn't getting his nighttime fun. You get me, blue balls, all that stuff. The moment the rumor comes out about having a new gal, wow, he scores a banger. And just on that, yeah, he's like one of the most selfless people, because even though he knows full well everybody's on him at the moment for scoring goals, he still tried to play Saka through to score the goal. Like, he actually tried to assist Saka. Like, it's just that Saka missed, hit his heel, and then he just went, okay, cool, I'll just do it. hey, we're too good at the moment, man. No, we're too. Why is it the year that I'm moving country that Arsenal decide that they want to win everything? It's crazy, man. But yeah.
Man, you're gonna have to, if there is something to celebrate come May, you're gonna have to come celebrate it, bro, before you go away, man. I've got to say it. But look, man, it's looking good right now. I understand why people are excited, but I got a feeling that Brandon might bring us a little bit down to reality with the way things go. With as I know Brandon well, but how you feeling at the moment, brother? Talk to me, Brandon.
Yeah, feeling good, feeling good. If Gyokeres was a bit lonely, we should have just given Win the dog to take home, do you know, for a little while, you know, take him home. Take him home, keep him for a bit. Do you know what I mean? No, good. We've seen two sides of Arsenal in the past 2 weeks. You know, when you look at the Premier League performances against Liverpool and Nottingham Forest, that's the side of Arsenal that I don't like seeing. And then you look at the Chelsea game and the game last night against Inter Milan, that's a totally different Arsenal. Although in the Chelsea game, I was a little bit critical because we conceded 2 sloppy goals, which was unlike us, to be fair. And I think we could have won it by a larger margin as well, and took the second leg with a bigger advantage. But, you know, nevertheless, it is an advantage, and nobody's beat us at home this season. So good luck to Chelsea on that one. But yeah, on last night, it's never easy going to the San Siro. Never easy going to the San Siro. And to go to the San Siro and make 5 changes and have players in the squad that have barely kicked the ball this season, in Miles Lewis-Skelly, for example, Eze, you know, barely kicked the ball recently, and Mosquera, who's just come back from injury as well after a long layoff, to go there and to win quite comfortably, to be fair. Quite comfortably, to be fair. I think we could have probably maybe even scored a few more goals. I know Inter had their chances as well, but we defended really well. And the game plan was absolutely spot on. But the difference between Arsenal in the Champions League and the Premier League is teams open up against us. You know, in the Premier League, we tend to face 11 men behind the ball, 10 men behind the ball, struggle to break it down. It gets frustrating at times because we're so slow and lethargic, and we struggle so much to break it down that it makes us look really, really poor. But in the Champions League this season, we have been absolutely flawless. Nobody can deny that. 7 wins out of 7, only 2 goals conceded. We're scoring goals for fun as well. It was nice to see Jesus get 2 goals as well, because that also tells Gyokeres, hey, if you're not going to perform, I'm still here to step into your place. And that's the thing with this Arsenal squad now. There's so much competition for places. People cannot afford to go on a run of having poor game after poor game after poor game. However, having said that, Dan, you know how I like to live in reality. But I just want to bring up the elephant in the room here. We go through all of Arsenal's best performances this season. I would say last night was one of them. Atletico Madrid was another. Bayern Munich was another. Tottenham was another. And probably the second half of the Aston Villa game at home was another. And the elephant in the room here is Martin Odegaard hasn't started a single one of them apart from Aston Villa. And that tells me that Odegaard, in particular, is a problem, not because he's not a good player, but he's a problem in the way that we play and how he slows it down far too much for us. And I don't think Eze was great last night. I think Eze needs to do more. I think Eze needs to do a lot more if he wants to break into this Arsenal team, because we all know that Mikel Arteta and Odegaard is a massive favourite of Mikel Arteta for one reason or another. And if Eze wants to have a chance of breaking into the first team and displacing Odegaard out of the first team, he's definitely got to show a lot more. But I just found it very interesting how, them performances in particular I just named, Eze started every single one of them. Odegaard hasn't. So maybe there's something in that. And with it being the business end of the season as well, I think so far so good. I think Mikel Arteta has got pretty much most things, spot on. And he needs to continue to do that. I know City at the moment look like a deer in the headlights. They look like they're just finished, to be honest with you. They look like this title race, this whole competing on all fronts is far too much for them. Whereas as before, obviously, you know they'd be there or thereabouts. And I think it's there for us to take, to be honest with you. I don't see anybody else, like Christian was saying, I don't see anybody else who could come anywhere close to us. And the only team that scares me is us, because we have a tendency of effing things up when things are going so well. So I'm still on edge. There's still 16 games to go in the league. There's still a lot of football to be played. Knockout stages of Champions League. I know we're, pretty much in the final of the League Cup. We've still got the FA Cup. There's a lot of football to be played, and I don't want to see complacency from Arsenal. And unfortunately, Nottingham Forest was a sign of complacency for me. And I don't know if anybody else agrees with that, but I saw a lot of complacency from Arsenal in the sense that we see City drop points earlier on in the day. And it was almost like we'd got into that comfortable stage where it was like, oh, it doesn't really matter if we draw this game 0-0. Whereas I think if City actually beat Manchester United earlier on in the day, we probably would have done a lot more to try and win that game against Nottingham Forest. It was kind of like, well, it's a point game. Do you know what I mean? So that's where I'm at.
Hooks, you were shaking your head, bruv. So before I bring Kenny in, what are you saying about what Brandon said? You were shaking your head at some point. Was it the Forest situation?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's football, man. You can't win every game. That's the first thing. The second,
I don't expect to though, Hooks.
The second thing is, just because Arsenal draw a game or even lose a game, it doesn't necessarily point towards complacency. Like sometimes the other team is just better on the day.
But I think what you
happen in football, and then
before hang on, Hooks, before you carry on, I think what you're misconstruing here is it's not about the result; it's about the manner in the way that we drop these points. Nottingham Forest 17th. They've barely won. They
weren't playing like a 17th place team, though. That's the thing, though.
Yeah, true. But they've struggled to win games at home this season. They struggle from set pieces. I mean, when I was watching that game, I'm watching Saliba and Declan Rice doing 1-2s in the middle of the pitch in the 92nd minute, and I'm thinking we need a goal. Like, go and get a goal. Come on, we've got a chance to go 9 points clear. We had an opportunity against a poor Liverpool side to go 11 points clear even. So I look at that and I think, previous teams from previous years, if this was Liverpool of last year, if this was City of last year, they would have took them points. They would have built that gap. They would have made it bigger. Whereas we seem to be a little bit more, just if we can't win the game, don't lose it sort of thing. And I want to see us really drive to go and win the game and take it. Just take the lead. It's in our hands. Nobody else is anywhere near us.
But there's only been two teams in the history of the Premier League that have had a bigger gap than what we have now at the top of the league at this point, and that's the Centurions and the first time Liverpool won the league. So in actuality, what you're actually asking for is it's not even realistic. Like you're asking for something that hasn't been done before.
So it's not really. Hang on.
And you know what? Yeah, like
before you move on, Hooks, because I know.
Wait. No, wait.
Let me pick up on that point. Because you said it's not realistic. So are you telling me it's not realistic to beat 17th place Nottingham Forest away from home? Are you telling me it's not realistic to beat a Liverpool side?
How many times have we beaten
their
Nottingham
entire
Forest
front three
as of recent?
Are you telling me that? a Liverpool side that has conceded
bro,
loads of goals this season.
Bro, like, by the way,
And we've
what
not
I'm
scored
trying-
one
like,
against them, by the way.
Like, brother, by the way, what I'm trying to say is on YouTube, yeah, for some reason, we always like to talk about Arsenal in a vacuum, bro. By the way, Nottingham Forest just watched West Ham beat Tottenham. So they're coming out with a different kind of vim because they know that if they lose, it's long for them. They're deep in relegation battle. Bro, I beg somebody tell me when they've seen Nottingham Forest turn up like that, because I haven't this season. These
Okay, so explain the Liverpool one then.
Super Saiyan, bro. Sometimes, do you know what, yeah? As much as, you know,
So
online...
hang on. So explain the Liverpool one then. You made a perfectly good...
Okay, again, yeah, because even Liverpool fans have said this, yeah? That's one of the better performances that Liverpool have had this season. Because, again, they know that if they get smoked by Arsenal, it's long for them. Everybody, like... Can we stop pretending, that teams don't like to power up when they face Arsenal, bro? Like, because I've seen it happen many a times. And then B, can we stop doing this thing online where we pretend that other teams just can't play better than Arsenal on the day? Sometimes it happens. It's football, bro. Like, do you know what I mean?
We still had enough chances to win that game, though.
Well, yeah, we did.
Martin Odegaard doesn't miss from 3 yards out. We probably win that game. If Marino scores that header, we win that game.
And if my aunt had wheels, she'd be a bike, bro. Like the shoulda, woulda.
No, but you're saying that they were better than us on the day. I don't think they were better than us at all. I think it was poor finishing from us, which has been a problem for us, you know.
And funnily enough, with the funnily enough as well, with the Liverpool game, I actually felt like we allowed them to have the ball. We allowed them in that second half. We allowed them to play. Whereas, you know, normally we don't allow teams to play. Like the high press, like Aston Villa, I'll take Aston Villa as an example, right? In the second half of the Aston Villa game, what we did so well was we pressed them. We pressed them so that they could not get out. And we pressed them that high that we won the ball so high that we just created chance after chance after chance. That second half of that Liverpool game, I'm looking at us and it's like, it's almost like we're 2 or 3-0 up and we're just kind of sitting out and
it did feel like that,
to play. Do you know what I mean?
Feel like that. Watching it at the Emirates, it did feel like that. I remember Saliba, Rice, and Gabriel just passing it between each other at 75 minutes at 0-0. I'm thinking, what's happening here? What we're doing? But let me bring Kenny in, man, because Kenny will be too polite as he always is and sit there quietly. So, how you feeling as a Gooner right now, brother? Talk to me, Kenny, and then I've got some questions for the panel, which can be some quick fire ones, which get interesting. So, talk to me, Kenny.
You're muted.
You're on mute, brother. You're on mute, bruv.
Floyd himself, mate. Look, the thing about Arsenal, you know, this season, like it feels like the Premier League, like is like the school term, and the Champions League is like school holidays, where you know during the school holidays, you know you're happy, you know you've got all the shackles come off, and you're at your best. You know, I think that's where we played our best football. I was really pleased with, you know, the game at Internazionale. You know what I was really pleased about is that this aura about Internazionale being this difficult team to beat. PSG showed us the way in the final. Press them aggressively, be on the front foot and attack with pace and numbers. They ain't got a clue because Inter like to play away where they basically like play the normal Italian way, slow and quick in the last third. We didn't allow them to do that, and I thought that was a fantastic performance. You know, Saka had an improving performance. I thought Jesus was knocking on that door. You know, scored a couple of good goals. Gyokeres, you know, took an opportunity to goal. You know, like he made the best out of a bad situation in terms of like, you know, the poor first touch, put in the top corner. And, you know, in the Champions League, we've got nothing to complain about. But in the league, what we've learned is in the league is that teams are playing better against us. They're taking more risk against us, you know, getting bodies forward. Nottingham Forest did well. I agree with Hooksy. I don't always agree with Hooksy, but he's right on this one. Nottingham Forest, you know, got all the disciplines right. You know, defended well, they're organised. And when they got the ball, they kept the ball. They made it really difficult for us. And we find it really difficult when we play teams that keep the ball well, are organised, and have a bit of strength about them. Liverpool result. Liverpool the better side at the Emirates because they did the disciplines really well, kept the ball well. You know, they had big lads and they were really organised. I thought Bradley was very organised. I thought Kanate always raised the games against Arsenal. So it's one of the things in the league, and when against Premiership opponents, they're tending to like raise their game, be more organised, and they're making our defence defend. So the Champions League's like a bit of a saving grace. But in terms of like, our players' performances, there's still questions. The striker question is still there. I still think there's a disconnect between Gyokeres and his teammates, but it works both ways. You can't just say, "Oh yeah, they don't pass to him." Yeah, they're not doing that. But when they put crosses in and he's not there, that's a disconnect as well. So we've got to be. It's not, down to the manager because he's not going to change his way for Gyokeres. It's basically down to Gyokeres putting his nuts on the table, showing us his nuts if he's got any, and basically say, "Look, I'm a £63 million here. How about you passing the ball? Don't be passive. If you're a big club and you're passive, go full for multiply. I don't want you here. Stop hiding behind, they don't pass to him. Poor Gyokeres. Poor what, man? You're at Arsenal. Put your nuts on the table. Let me see this. Let me see your nuts."
I'm getting a little bit worried about you, Kenny, because you like people putting their nuts on the table.
Yeah, I'm not too funny, right? The thing with Gyokeres, right? He needs to man up. The fact is that is a bit of both. Yes, he's not getting the serves from Odegaard. Yes, he's not getting the, Saka, couldn't resist it yesterday when he could have paid him in, but he had a shock. He's a goal scorer as well. But I'm just saying it's a bit of both. And then the Eze situation as well. He looked too anxious for me yesterday. He was snatching his chances when he was in the last third, and off the ball, he was struggling a bit, and possession did fall at his feet. So these are little things that you notice when the match, because you've got to analyse everything. But all in all, in Europe, we've been perfect, but that's nothing. The fun starts in March when teams have now had a look at us in Europe. They know what we're good at and what we're not good at, and they've got a chance to play us twice. So it's not going to be easy. They're going to up their game, and we've got to be ready for that. We shouldn't be surprised like we were when we played PSG last year in the semis, where we beat them in the league stage, where we were fantastic as well. We finished third. They gave us a bit of a surprise in setting our season. So Arsenal fans have got every right to be excited. I swear to God, you're going to be very skint if you're like me, going to home games and a few away games. I'll tell you, my wife's going to divorce me for the amount of money that I'm taking out of her purse to go and watch us play. But it's worth it if we win anything. But I'm just saying, majority of Arsenal fans deep down, their heads are saying, just relax. We've been here before. We got really excited. And we've seen the promised land only to be locked out and watch the rich men at the table. So one game at a time, guys.
No, Kenny, you are spitting facts, bro. That's absolutely fair points that you're making. I don't care who answers these. I'm going to chuck them out there. Brandon has touched on one already. And some of these might think, these are a little bit negative as opposed to positive. But I think they're just discussion points, really. I don't really see them as positive or negative. Some of them are very positive. But I thought I'd put these out because this is the talking points at the moment. And one of them is something that, the guys have spoken about already. Arsenal looking better going forward without Odegaard in the team is something that I actually agree with. Now, I'm not saying that Martin Odegaard is a horrific player by any means, but I just want to kind of get your thoughts and opinions on why you might think that is. Doesn't mean he's not going to play, because he is going to. He's the captain, he's the teacher's pet, and Arteta loves him. But actually, when you look at it, Brandon made some good points there. And I remember Eze playing in every single one of them other than Villa. And I agree with Brandon. They were the better teams, better side. And I thought last night, again, as much as Eze didn't put up any trees and neither did Marino, I just think Odegaard slows it down. He was woeful against Forest. It was actually quite cringe watching him play, to be fair. It was that bad against Forest. But when you look at what he's been this season for Arsenal, I'm still waiting for Odegaard. And when you get called a flip-flop and everyone loses their head, I'm going to call myself one, because I actually have no idea whether I rate this lad or not. Because 1 minute I like him, next minute I don't. Then I don't think he's good enough again. Then I think, actually, no, he's proven he is. Then I'm thinking, no, I am flip-flopping on whether Martin Odegaard has actually got a long-term future here, or if we are looking at him as a kind of Zinchenko, Jesus, we might need to move past you now. I don't know.
It's so frustrating with him because he's got the ability. We've seen it. Yeah, we've seen it. He's got the ability. But for some reason or another, I've never, he's supposed to be this number 10 or the more attack-minded midfielder of a midfield three. And he's probably the most risk-adverse out of all three of them. Zubimendi plays riskier passes than Odegaard at times. Declan Rice certainly does as well.
Because
And I'm
they're
like, where's that coming from? Because I know this guy has the ability to split defenses with his passing, but it seems so safe with him all the time. And it's not just that it's safe as well, but when you want to sort of get in the opposition's half, especially when breaking down a low block and you need to move that ball quickly, Odegaard is the tempo setter in this team, and he takes far too many touches on the ball. 3, 4, 5, 6 touches before he even moves it on. He needs to be the one to set the tempo and say, look, boys, 2 touches maximum. You know, we'll create a bit of space here, pull players out of position. If we can pull players out of position, that'll give us the space to work in, you know, that sort of thing. But far too many times, this guy picks up the ball, slows it down. We know exactly where the ball's going. It's going straight out to the right-hand side to Saka, you know. And then even worse than that, when he does get himself into decent positions, he very rarely ever shoots on sight. You know, he gets positions to open it up, to be able to have a shot from the edge of the area, and he very rarely does that. So he's one of the most frustrating players in this Arsenal side for me, because he's got the ability, but it just doesn't seem like he's quite with it. Do you know what I mean?
I think positionally that's his problem. I think he's coming too deep. You know, he's not playing as a 10. He's essentially playing as a right 8, which then leaves all that space in between the lines of the opponent's midfield and defence free. You know, when we were playing at our best and our most exciting football, 22-23, you had Granit Xhaka occupying that left 8 channel, and Odegaard was a 10. He was staying forward. At times, he would drop deep, you see, in between the centre-backs at times. But most of the time, he was forward. Gabriel Jesus, at times, in that season, was the one dropping deeper. Now, it seems that space there, Odegaard is a right 8. Declan Rice kind of left 8. That space isn't occupied. So what we're doing every time, we're becoming a one-trick pony, which is why I think people are finding it boring. Playing into Odegaard, we're playing out to Saka out wide. If it's not working, we're coming. Do you know what I mean? It is that horseshoe shape rather than playing through the middle. And I got to be honest, that's what Eze does better. Like, I don't think Eze was great yesterday, but that first goal, he drives through the middle, passes it through the middle. We play through the middle. Then it goes out to Timber, who has the shot, and then Jesus scores. We maybe don't score that goal if Odegaard is in the team. And in my opinion, Odegaard's best game, that Villa game, he was in that position. Think of when Zubimendi made the run. He was in the 10 position. He picked the pass through the middle and we scored that goal. I want him to pick up those positions more. I don't really know why he doesn't. I think it's Arteta. I think it's by design. I watched Manchester City against United. They did exactly the same thing. Foden, Bernardo Silva and Cherki did not occupy the position between the lines, the number 10 position at all. They left Haaland on Martinez and Maguire. And then there was just a massive gap in the midfield every single time. They made it so easy for United to defend. Because if they didn't go out wide to Semenyo or out wide to Doku, they just kind of recycled the ball around the midfield or went backwards, allowed the press. And that's what we do at times, which is why it's boring. So look, if we're going to get the best out of Odegaard, we need to take a bit more of a risk, have a bit less possession in terms of him dropping deep. Obviously, we have more possession, we control the game. If he stays higher and plays as a 10, then obviously we're not going to control the game a lot more, which is why the conversation about those kind of old school 10s not really being in football anymore. That is why it's a thing, because teams want more possession, they want to control, they want to play the kind of higher percentage game. So it's a really weird one, because like I say, I love Martin Odegaard, or I loved Martin Odegaard, but is he at his best now? No. Is it down to him? Possibly. The injuries? Is it down to the system and Arteta? Again, possibly. And even when Eze plays, you see him dropping deeper. You see Arteta screaming at him to stay deeper. When he was playing on the left, screaming at him to get out wide. You know, Arteta's a control freak. So, yes, it's a really weird one. Have we looked better without him in the team? This season, I probably have to say, yeah. He's had good games, but overall, I'd have to agree with the statement.
I think it's because, like, it's tactical, innit? Like, if you have Odegaard, who's meant to be in the 10, like, when a lot of people go up against, and the City face the same, like, everybody wants to go man to man. So you got to think, if you got Odegaard, who's constantly roaming all over the place, it makes it really difficult for them to actually man to man, which then creates space for other players. Like, do you know what? Yeah, the first thing as well is he's not a 10. Like, he's just not a 10.
I agree.
Like,
I agree.
He's an 8. He's just not a 10. Like, even when you watch him, he doesn't he doesn't really want to be in those type of areas. He's more someone that, do you know what's weird? He kind of wants to be in similar areas that Zubamendi's in. Like, he definitely wants to be a lot deeper on the pitch. So I feel like Odegaard, as the captain, you know, I do expect to see more from you at times, but I feel like he gets judged unfairly because people are judging him as a 10 when he's not a 10. Like, realistically,
The thing is, Hooks, just quickly, if that is the case, just quickly, I think what Mikel Arteta has to do is say, look, I know you're my captain, you're my guy, you're my teacher's pet. I think he just loves him. He loves everything about him. But he's got to either drop him out the side or he's got to find a way to play him as the 8 and put Eze in with him. Because we haven't seen enough of that this season, in my opinion. I love Zubamendi and Rice together, but they don't always have to play two holding midfielders. I think you can look to, I know they're not really holding midfielders, but you get my point. I think if we tried to do it against West Ham, he got a shoulder injury. We tried to do it again in one game, he got injured again. But even then, when he did play it, Eze was the one that was in the 8 and Odegaard was the 10. If they would have switched that round, I'd love to have just seen what that worked like. Because I truly believe that Odegaard is the Bernardo Silva, not the KDB. In fact, I don't think he's as good as any of those, right? But what I'm trying to get at is in terms of what their attributes are for Arsenal, that's what I think he is. I don't think he's a KDB. I think he's more of the Bernardo, the guy before the guy who knits it together and delivers it to the guy who could do something with it. I think that's what Odegaard might be, but I don't think Arteta sees that. I think a little bit like when he misprofiled Rice last season in this kind of Lampard role. Now he's box to box and he's brilliant. Yeah, I think he kind of needs to do the same with Odegaard, and I don't know that there's a position for Odegaard in this 8. If I'm honest, I think that's why.
I thought Rice was DM. I thought Rice was a DM.
Well, I thought he was an 8. I thought he was an 8. You told me, but apparently we're both wrong, and he's a box to box midfielder.
I thought he was another 6, mate. Come on.
Well, look, I preferred him in the 6 to the Lampard role, but I like him in this role right now. That's what I will say. So you were right, Kenny. But I don't know what you guys think. I want to move to the next question in a minute. But what are you saying, Marty, Kenny, Odegaard? What's going on at the moment with him?
Look, I think the Odegaard situation is, it's interesting. Like last night when I watched Eze, it was like he didn't do much, but the ball went in the back of the net. And it's like sometimes those unsung players add a lot to the team. And it's not noticeable, but the results are proven. Like last night, Odegaard was nowhere to be seen, and we got the result.
It's more exciting when Eze plays. Put it that way. It's more exciting to watch when Eze plays.
Yeah, listen, and
much
that's it.
More
but
exciting.
If I'm honest with you, last night when Eze played, he got hooked after 60 minutes, and it was like, "What are you doing?" But he got hooked, but we got the result. So. Listen, it's interesting, and do you know what? Have I worked it out fully? No. Obviously, Odegaard offers a lot of press, the intensity. It looks like Eze isn't doing that much, but when he plays, we're getting results. Apart from the Tottenham game where he was phenomenal. Other than that, I mean, listen, he's been in for a lot of criticism, and he has. Eze has been criticised hugely since his acquisition to Arsenal, apart from that game, in what he's done. So, look, you're always going to get that, and you're always going to, it's interesting. Like, against United, who do you start? Do you start Eze? Do you start Odegaard?
No. Like, it's got to be Eze. It's got to be Eze.
No. But then, I get that, but then the thing is Odegaard offers a lot of press. He offers a lot to the side, but whereas Eze has been sort of guilty of going missing at times.
Do you know what it is, Marty, right? The reason why I say I play Eze instead of Odegaard, and I'm kind of hoping that's why he got dragged off in 60 minutes, is because, like Christian said, you look at the way City play in that midfield against Man United. If we play Odegaard, best believe we're going to do a similar thing. You know, he's going to be dropping deep for the ball and all that. And best believe Man United are going to come to the Emirates with the same sort of game plan as what they had against Man City, because it works so well against City and we play in a similar style to City in a similar way, especially in the middle of the park. They might get some joy on the counter-attack against us if we play. And that's why I think Eze's better suited in this game in particular, because you know he's going to pick up the ball and he's going to drive through the middle. You know,
Whereas
Odegaard's not necessarily
Eze doesn't track back. He's notorious for not tracking back, whereas
So
Odegaard
the
will.
thing is, Marty, he's not. The reason why I won't pick Eze for the time being is because the simple reason is that Eze represents a risk. You saw what Man United did when they got in amongst the ball players of Man City. You know, even Kobe Mainoo ran his nuts off. Fernandes ran his nuts off. They made some sacrifices. Casemiro, and what Man United did really well was keep the ball. Because Eze's a risk player, he loses the ball in possession, and he's not thinking. He's at Crystal Palace. He wasn't worrying about. Oh no, the right back's on his shoulder. What am I going to do now? Like, you know, what happened with Matty Cash is kind of put something in Arteta's mind about Eze. And the thing is, when Eze does get the ball as well, he's trying too anxious. Odegaard's in the team on default because of what Odegaard would do off the ball. As a shape, when we don't have the ball, Mick Arteta's got his biggest non-negotiable is when Arsenal are out of possession, there's got to be like a kind of a rectangle where no one's getting through, where they're thinking, should we get down the sides and put the crosses? No, they're going to clear it. Should we try and get through the middle? No, there's too many bodies there. And Odegaard represents that. He's the first press. Now, don't get me wrong, Odegaard's performances against Liverpool were non-existent. He got absolutely mullered in midfield. Against Nottingham Forest, he was like a Colts player. And don't get me wrong, there's extenuating circumstances, and not just because he got injured. I think I saw something against Brentford I didn't like, but I understood. But when you're captain Arsenal, don't do that again. Because of his injuries, because of the World Cup, I think that he's let's just say he's not liking or wanting to get involved in the physical stuff, and it's understandable. But when the opposition is winning the ball because you're losing that physical battle, you become a problem. Because I'm criticising Eze because he's losing the ball. I'm criticising Eze because he's holding the ball too long and he's not getting, into sort of like what I mean is that he's not in tune with how we are tactically. But if I'm criticising Eze for that, I've got to look at Odegaard, what he's not doing. And then, as the guys have said as well, I don't like Odegaard deep. Get away from there. We've got Rice there to bring the ball to bring the ball out of the fence. We've got Zouameni. Just get in the number 8 and do what you're doing in 23-24 when you're close to Saka, you're close to Martinelli. That's what's really winding me up about Martin Odegaard. He's not doing the things that were successful in 22-23 and 23-24. That's why he makes me angry. And I ain't got a problem with the yellow belly in him because all the silky players are like that. But my biggest problem is that when you're playing, when you're not playing well, you try too hard and you try to affect the game. And then when you try to affect the game when you're struggling, you're getting away. So trying to take the ball out of defence, no, mate, jog on, mate. Get back in where you play your best football. And I think that's the conundrum of Odegaard. But the problem is, Eze hasn't done enough to collect the shirt. And the person who's next cab in rank is going to be Marino. Because Marino, Arteta feels he owes him a place in the team because when he has played for us, he's never let us down. And even in midfield, tactically, he gets it off the ball, on the ball, and he's good in the ball. So Eze's got a mountain to climb to get in that team. If I was Arteta right now, and I think Arteta's not no man, but I've got to go in his head. I wouldn't play Eze because I wouldn't risk him against Man United, especially the way they press City. He'd be a risk. I wouldn't have him.
Well, you would play Odegaard against Man United.
Yeah,
he will play Odegaard, though, won't he? Let's just say how it is.
He's not going to leave a free man in midfield. Not because he's playing well, but from the shape. I won't play Eze. I can't.
What do people make of this comment quickly before I go to the next question? Rumble, big up to you, bro. And thanks for doing the timestamps, man. You're a legend. I think Nwaneri's gone out on loan to gain experience to take Odegaard's spot next season. What do people think about Nwaneri's future at Arsenal? Do you think that he could actually come back into the first team if he gets a really good... it's going to be Marseille, isn't it? He's going to go and join Aubameyang and obviously De Zerbi. What do we think of this? Do we think that he could come back next season and start for Arsenal, or is he just too young, too inexperienced?
He won't start.
Just quickly, what I'll say on that is, listen, Arsenal have done that with Saliba. Look what happened. Mikel Arteta has picked a side for Nwaneri to go on loan. He's clearly not getting the game time at Arsenal. So going out to Marseille, which is a picked side for him to go out to, get the game time, get experience. There's nothing wrong with that. Listen, I rate Nwaneri. I think he's a phenomenal player. He's a phenomenal talent. He needs game time. I'm all up for that, and I really am. If I'm honest with you, the hardest thing of that is, listen, when Arsenal win silverware this season, which they will, Nwaneri, there will be a part of that he'll miss out on, and that's it. He needs to go out. He needs to practice his craft. He needs to get experience. He needs to be around other players and try a different experience to get that game time. I'm all for it. I think it's a great move by Arsenal. And do you know what? Like people say, oh, with Odegaard and Eze, listen, they're not going to be there forever. Odegaard and Eze have, I mean, listen, Eze's what, 27? Odegaard's similar age. Listen, I genuinely believe as well Nwaneri will go out for the next season as well on loan. And that season after, listen, we could see a serious player come into this fold like what we saw with Saliba.
I think he's
I
gone
like
to
it.
Marseille as well.
I don't like it personally.
De Zerbi. Literally, I think that's why he's gone to Marseille, because De Zerbi is like, he's like Arteta in the sense that out of possession, yeah, super important. Because that's the one weakness in Nwaneri's game, is off the ball. He's out of possession. That's why anyone thinking that he'll take Odegaard's spot next season, it's laughable. Like, he'll get minutes if he stays, he'll play if he stays, but he's not taking Odegaard's place, because Odegaard's off the ball is so superior to most. Unless Ethan really sharpens up that part of his game, he won't be a starting figure for Arsenal next season.
It's interesting, really, because I think we've seen that Arteta seems to prefer Ethan out on the right-hand side. Whether that is because, like Hook says, his off-the-ball game is not quite up to scratch. So, you know, it's easier to put him out on the right-hand side in Saka's position, where you're not going to have to do as well in terms of positionally off the ball or not is a different matter altogether. I'm glad he's gone out on loan, because there's no way he should be sitting there on the bench and just not playing any minutes whatsoever. But
He's got a bigger problem than Odegaard, though. Ethan's problem is Max Dowman.
True.
That's Ethan's problem. Like, do you know what I mean? If he he already has someone who's younger than him, who is seen as higher rated than him, that is actively competing for his spot that he hasn't even earned yet.
Yeah, it's the same position though, Hooks though, because the thing is that the position that we tried Ethan at right forward, and then the Brentford game came along, and it's half time. I was saying to my mate, if he doesn't, watch the Brentford left back, he's coming off, and it happened. And since then, he's been kind of marginalised, and his positions he's been in the sort of like the Odegaard position. Because when Ethan went on loan, personally, I looked at it and I thought, right, who's going to get more seniority? Is he going to play ahead of a £63 million Eze? Nope. Is he going to play in front of the captain of Norway and Arsenal? No. And Marino is basically like Mr. Versatile. So I can understand why he's going. Personally, for him, I don't think he want to go, because as we all agree, we're part of something really exciting at the football club in terms of we're at a situation where it could happen. We could see like the promised land in the for the league, the Champions League. We're playing well and playing with confidence, so we're kind of understanding European League. Chelsea, it's only half time. FA Cup, we've got Wigan, and then fifth round, we're going to believe we could beat anybody. So the guy will want to stay, but I think from a business point of view as well, if he doesn't succeed at Arsenal, as a big if, you've got to be able to put him in a shop window, and by sending him out alone, from a business point of view, he's got to be playing football. I'd rather he comes back, but we've seen this sort of like movie before. Players go out on loan, they go to France, start enjoying themselves, playing every week, playing a pace of football that suits them. Arsenal, Eze can still be in 2 years, maybe Odegaard. You can't go on loan indefinitely. Then we may have to make a decision. It's a shame, but that's football's a cruel game. at this stage where Arsenal are, and I know it's an horrible thing to say, can't wait for nobody. We're in desperate need for trophies. We can't take feelings into consideration. We can't take Eze's feelings into consideration. We can't wait for Gyokeres to come good. We have to win today. And if there's like casualties, then it happens. Football's the biggest BARD in life.
I don't know if he was a casualty or a passenger, though. This is where I'm at with Ethan. Good luck to him. I want him to go and play. I want him to better his game and improve and get minutes 100%. I hope he does that in Marseille and comes back a better player. When Saka was injured last year and he was playing on the right, I thought it was great. You know, it was a breath of fresh air. He would play in games. He'd get a crowd off their seat. You think of the City goal. There was other goals that he scored. Champions League debut he scored. I was thinking, there's a real player here. If you said to me right now, Saka's obviously the starting right winger. Who do I want as the second choice, Madueke or Ethan Nwaneri? I'm choosing Ethan. That's why I'm a little bit annoyed about it. I think he's a better player with better output than Noni Madueke. And that's not a slight at Madueke. I think Madueke is a good player. He's exciting. He can dribble. He can beat his man. But in terms of end product, he doesn't really have it. Ethan has that. And I think if he was to be second choice, I think he would improve at Arsenal. Now, look, Arteta doesn't see it that way. Arteta prefers Madueke. Maybe it is defensively and whatever it is he sees in him. I think Ethan's a better player. That's why I'm annoyed, because he would be my second choice right winger. I know he wants to play centrally, so maybe he's behind Odegaard and Eze. And if Ethan said to Arteta, I don't want to play on the right, I want to play centrally, I want to go and better my game and come back and fight for that position, maybe that's why it's happened. But in my opinion, if I could go back to the summer and not sign Madueke and Ethan is the second choice right winger, I would do that.
Yeah,
but
but
just as well,
he's not the second choice right winger because of his out of possession play. Like, you got to think, what does Saka offer? Like, Saka is Saka because of what he does the other way. Like, when Nwaneri plays, he doesn't offer that the other way. And like,
no, that's what I'm saying. If he's the second choice, if he's the second choice, he doesn't need to play in those games where we're getting dominant. Like, how often does Saka really? We have 60-70% possession in most games, right? Teams are rarely pressing us. Teams are rarely on us. Saka doesn't work back that much in games. At times he does, yeah, when we're playing against the bigger teams.
Every time. On transition, every time. The same with Martinelli. That's like, this is just the, like, if you ask me, like, just as a fan, just as a football fan, I want to see the likes of Nwaneri play on the wing. Like, I want to see the likes of Saka not have to do the work the other way and just be given the freedom to just play further up the field and attack and not have to worry about the other way. But Mikel Arteta, his football ethos, it demands that.
Do you know what? I agree.
Bro, we got the best right back in the world behind him. Like, you shouldn't have to track back that much. Like, Ethan should be able to play and express himself.
But Timber, see, this is the thing. It's not just the attackers that have to defend. The defenders attack as well. Like, that's like, it's total football. Like, everybody has to be able to do everything in all phases of the game. That's why you see people like Calafiori, who's here, there, and everywhere, 10, right wing, striker, everywhere. And you got Gyokeres, who he'll be back behind the halfway line.
Do you not agree though that it's kind of backwards from that sense? Because you're right, everybody has to do their defensive duties, but like at times you say Timber's like all the way up the pitch, Calafiori's all the way up the pitch, and the players that we actually want at the top of the pitch are on the halfway line or doing the defensive work.
But this is why we are where we are. This is why we're first in the league. This is why we're first in the Champions League. This is why we're in the semi-final of the Carabao Cup. And this is why we're looking to go strong in the FA Cup. Because of what everybody does on the pitch. Our off the ball is really what defines us. Like, if we wasn't as good defensively as we are, we wouldn't be where we are now. It's our defense is what, like, and when I say defense, I don't just mean our back line. Like, I mean our nature, our defensive nature is what has us where we are. So you can't take that away. You take that away, then I don't know. We're not the team.
I don't think you should take it away, but I think there is room to be a little less risk adverse. Do you know what I mean? Like, just you've got your back four. I think we'll all agree that it's the best back four in the Premier League. and then you've got the two, let's just say, more defense. I know Declan Rice and Zubimendi are not necessarily your defensive midfielders, but naturally, defensive instinct for them two comes first. It just does. So you've got them two in front as well. So you've got 6 players there to do the defensive work. So why can't you allow your striker and your 2 wingers to have a bit more freedom on the pitch? And even
I think he has done that in some games. I think Arteta has done that in some games. Not enough, Brandon. I'm with you, but I do sometimes question why we don't do that in other games. I'm thinking we've got and everyone has been saying how great we are defensively as a back four. I think we've got a Zubimendi and Rice that are very much defensive minded as well. Surely you can trust him to be a bit more free flowing. And I think we see that against Inter Milan last night. And that was what was really, really impressive for me. We see it against Bayern Munich and Spurs and stuff like that. So that's what I think. But let me move to this next question, because otherwise going to be here all night. But this one's, I think, is quite an interesting one, man. Marty, I'll let you start. Jesus or Gyokeres to start versus Manchester United? Go on, bro.
Listen, like I've said with the Jesus situation, listen, he was fantastic. He scored twice very quickly. Jesus, we've got to be very, very careful with this situation with him to not start too many games too quickly. The guy's just come off of not 1 ACL, 2 ACL injuries. You've got to nurture this guy. You really have to nurture this guy. You can't, he did fantastically against Milan, and staked a massive claim to start against United. 100%. He's a goal scorer. He's a match winner. He's a fantastic player for Arsenal Football Club. But you do have to think of realistics. Like, you look at Ben White. We started him for 4 games, and he got injured. What I don't want to see with Gabriel Jesus is him pulling up and being out for the rest of the season. Look, there is also the argument if Gyokeres comes on against a tired defence like he did against Milan and scores an absolute screamer, and it was a fantastic goal, maybe against a tired, Milan defence. But do I want to start? It's like we are currently right here, right now. We're blessed with Jesus, Gyokeres, and Havertz all being fit. The level of fitness is debatable. I think out of all 3, for me, Gyokeres is the fittest. Is he the most in tune to demands of the Premier League? Possibly not. Jesus is, but is he the fittest? Probably not. Is Havertz the fittest? For me as well. Listen, I've said this. Kai Havertz. If Kai Havertz was a clinical finisher, and he's finishing, on FIFA, you get speed 86 and all of that. If Kai Havertz's finishing was improved, he would probably be the most complete centre forward you could have. And that's just how I see it. The only thing in question with Kai Havertz is his finishing. He gets in positions, he gets in spaces, he creates chances. But I think where Arsenal fans have got on his back in recent times, a year ago when he was fit, was his clinicality and his ability to put the ball in the back of the net. Now, Gabriel Jesus, we saw it against Milan last night, got in position, he scored a header from a corner, and then obviously that toe-in was a great example of what he offers differently. Now, also at the same time, when Gyokeres came on and smashed that rifle into the top corner, again, listen, this is a Mikel Arteta conundrum. Who do you start? Would I start Jesus? I don't want to get the guy injured. But I do like Gyokeres coming on against a stretched, tired defence, especially a 90 defence. Yeah, I would start Gyokeres personally. Jesus can be played on the right-hand side, the left-hand side. We've got options right here, right now. We are blessed at Arsenal Football Club with having 3 top-class centre forwards that are fit to an extent.
I can't lie. It has to be Victor Gyokeres. For one,
Hooks loves this guy, man.
Yeah, he's on the back of the top as well. Done no, but you know what it is. Yeah, when against Manchester United, if Jesus does start, yeah, then we will have much less space. Much less space. Because we get so much space when Victor Gyokeres plays because their back line has to stay deeper. It just has to, which means there's more space between their back line and midfield, which creates more space for our wingers. This is like when Victor Gyokeres is Magneto. Yeah, I don't care about he hasn't scored 100 goals and all of this stuff. When he's on the pitch, the two centre backs, they're always focused on him, which creates more space for our wingers. If Gabriel Jesus starts, what he will do, because he's a false nine, yeah, what he will do is he will drop into the 10 position, which will then drag their defenders with him, which then creates less space, not only for our midfield, but everybody. Yeah. That's the first thing. The second thing, Gyokeres is just a better striker. The third thing, Arsenal fans really need to stop, yeah, with this Jesus propaganda, yeah, because everybody else may have amnesia, yeah, but I don't. And I remember how all you man were talking about Jesus when he was our main striker. Oh, he's not a striker. He's a right winger. Oh, he can't finish. He's not clinical. He can't score. Oh, this, that. But now all of a sudden, he gets 2 goals against Inter Milan. Everybody, he should be the starting striker. Come on, people. Like, what will happen is he will start against United and he will not score. And then people will remember, oh, yeah, Jesus, he's really good on the ball. He's a techie player, has that bit of magic in him, but he's not a striker. Realistically, he's not a striker. He's just not. So it has to be Gyokeres. Now, the only thing that's debatable for me is my brother Kai Havertz coming back into the team. You know what I'm saying? I backed him from the beginning, never said a bad word about him. You get me? So the support was strong. Yeah. Kai Havertz, I would play about with him coming into the team against Man. I don't know over Gyokeres. I'm not too sure about over Gyokeres, but I would like to try and find.
Whoa! You can't play both of them, brother. Please tell me you're not playing Havertz and Gyokeres.
Hey, Havertz and Gyokeres playing together.
Don't do this to me, Hooks.
Scenario for me. It's like the perfect scenario for me.
Oh my god!
Oh
No. That
perfect.
No. We got to stop. We got to stop this. Look, thing with Victor.
I'll throw Fellaini in there as well.
You know,
I love Hooks.
you know, thing with Victor.
Lady, where did he come from?
You know, Victor, right?
Similar type of player, isn't it?
Victor Stark. The thing is, Victor Stark.
Mate.
You know, thing Victor, he starts because he's our fittest striker. So he's no good talking about, Jesus. He's not fully match fit, and he's not match fit in a way that he can play consecutive run of games. So you play Victor because his fitness. Kai Havertz is not even part of the debate. Yes, he's fit enough to be on the bench, but he's not fit enough to play 90 minutes of football for one game, let alone a consistent amount of games. So Gyokeres plays. But the thing with Victor Gyokeres, it is up for debate whether he's up to it or not. It has to be up for debate. The fact is that when you're at Arsenal, you have to adapt. You have to, there's for and against. Yeah, has he been used to the professional Gyokeres? Yes. Is his teammates not passing him and see him as a first option? 100%. But when they do see him as first option, is he getting into position? No, he's not. It's like half and half. But the problem with Victor is that the problem with a lot of Arsenal fans is that we will talk to ourselves into thinking if we get this striker, he can score 30 goals a season, we're going to win the league. That system we play does not befit an out-and-out goal striker. It befits a false number 9, which we got already. So if you're looking for a striker, rather than get someone like Victor Gyokeres, which I was against anyway, you need to get someone who's a false number 9 but can score goals and can finish. And I'm not saying Victor Gyokeres is a wrong player, but he's not the player I would have gone for. And how it's turning out now is how I thought we'd turn out, because he's not elite. Technically, he's not the best. His first touch isn't the greatest. The way people praise him is so he makes sprays and takes defenders out. I swear to God, I thought they were talking about Nwaneri there. We thought we were getting Ian Rush, and now you guys are comparing him to Nwaneri. Make your bloody minds up, guys. Don't just look. Is he here to score goals or take defenders out? Please help me out here. Did you buy him to score goals or to occupy the defender? Oh, he's working his nuts off. Yeah, that's what you said about Heskey 25 years ago. I need help here.
Hey,
What are you good at? Help me understand, please.
Kenny, I just want to throw it out there. Him and Trossard are our top goal scorers in the Premier League. So just throw that one out there.
Yeah, but the fact is that Victor Gyokeres' performances are a rarity. It's not the normal hooks. And you know this, bro. You know this, bro.
I know
his performances are not his good performances are rare. At Arsenal, rare don't do it. You don't do it.
I'm completely satisfied with what Victor Gyokeres is doing in the team. Because I understand what his role is. Like, it even came out that Arteta actually said to him that I want a striker that when they're not scoring 7, 8, 9, however many games, they're still doing all the other. Their heads don't drop.
Do you believe what Arteta's saying? Do you think Arteta's satisfied with his performances?
I think
Do you really believe
over the moon?
Do you actually believe that Arteta? Don't you think that's good man management for Arteta trying to G up the marquee signing? And
I would agree with you, Ken. I would agree with you, but we have to look at what Arteta's been doing as well. Like, Jesus has been back from injury for a while now, and Gyokeres has still started the majority of games for Arsenal.
He's a fit striker, Brandon. I
know that. But what I'm saying is we know Marino can do a job up front as well. So if he was really unsatisfied with Gyokeres' job up front, he probably would have just started Marino. Do you know what I mean? So I think he is satisfied. I think Hooks is right when he says, that Arteta is satisfied with what Gyokeres is doing, in terms of his movement off the ball. And not necessarily with the scoring side of things, but definitely, providing space to our wingers. Because really, Arsenal have always been like that under Arteta, where we don't predominantly have a striker that scores most of the goals. It does come from, the wings and the midfield. And I think I'm with everybody on this. I think Gyokeres has to start against Man United purely and simply because of Jesus dropping in deep into that midfield. Going to make it far too congested. And I think Gyokeres will occupy their defenders a little bit more. Hold-up play is a little bit of an iffy one. So I think there's a couple of key components to this game. I think Declan Rice is going to be extremely key for Arsenal in the middle, especially going forward, because in the last couple of games, I've not noticed him box crashing that much. I've not noticed him really, busting along to get into the box like he normally does. Maybe that's just down to fitness. I don't know. But I think going forward, he's going to be key. I think Gyokeres will be key to give our wingers space. And I think Saka and Trossard have to start on either side. I think that's just an inevitability. And then for me, I keep saying it, but, if you want to take a little bit more of a risk, rely on your defensive players a bit more, I would personally play Eze. But we know he's going to go with Odegaard. And that's where, for me, it becomes a bit sticky because it's like, this is where it's like, are you really going for the game, Mikel? Like, is this too risk adverse? Are you just picking players based on the fact that they do the defensive work? Where is the risk going to come from? You've got to allow some of these players to have freedom to go and be able to win the game. We're not going to win every game with set pieces. And funnily enough, the games that we have dropped points in this season are the games that Arsenal haven't scored a set piece in. So, there's something in that.
So it's kind of like I don't know, it's like a false metric. Like, it doesn't matter. Like,
it's not that it's a false metric. I'm just saying the games that we haven't dropped or that we have dropped points in, we failed to score a set piece. I'm not saying that we're scoring set pieces and relying on set pieces to win games, but what I'm saying is, because obviously we've scored open play goals as well as that, but there's a little bit of a weird thing there where every time Arsenal haven't scored a set piece in the game, we've dropped points. So,
you can say that about any team ever.
Yeah.
You don't score a goal, you don't score a set piece, you don't win the game. What team is...
No, I'm talking about set pieces. I'm talking about set pieces in general, Christian. I'm not talking about open play. I'm talking about set pieces in general. Obviously,
just set piece goals. Brandon's talking about, not open play goals.
Yeah.
Just set
If
piece. So if we haven't won,
we
if we
score
haven't
all. We
scored a
score
set piece,
open
we haven't
play,
won.
set pieces. We scored a lot like that.
But
I
take the
I
set
don't
piece
think-
goal away yesterday, we still win the game 2-1. Take the set piece goal away
no,
against
I'm
Villa,
not
we still win the
disagreeing with
game
you on that.
4-1.
I'm just saying
We didn't score a set piece goal against Spurs, did we? 4-1?
Mate, listen.
Yes.
I listen.
No, we didn't.
For me personally,
Did we?
this set piece, this open play thing. Listen, it's not a thing. It's like we score set pieces, we score like own goal set pieces, we score open play goals. I don't really think that's a debate because listen, we score goals. That's why we're top of the Champions League, top of the Premier League. Like we score goals. You know, it's as simple as that. Even the Victor Gyokeres situation or the Marina, you know, who's on number 9, that Jesus, we score goals. Like everyone slandered Martinelli, but Martinelli's our top goal scorer. Work that one out. Like, but everyone wanted to sell him in August to get someone else in. Like, I think what it is we're
It goes by
blessed.
committee.
I was
There's
just
not
saying.
one vocal point. Like I don't mind it personally. I don't really care. Like Haaland has got 30 goals, whatever it is this season. But
Yeah.
like
And
Dockers,
Haaland got listen, and Haaland got smoked it last night against Bodo Glimt. Like
exactly.
do you know what I mean? They got absolutely
Man City,
embarrassed.
after
Like,
that, they haven't really got any other goal scorers after that. I mean, Cherky scored a couple, Foden's got a couple, but
Turkey was
that's
right.
kind of it,
Turkey's
really.
right.
Like I think with Arsenal, I know we haven't got one scoring 30, and it would be lovely if Gyokeres can get 30 and the others keep scoring as well. But all of our goal scorers are quite tight knit with each other, whether it's 9, 8, 7, 6s, 5s. I think they've all had a contribution so far, which is why I think Arsenal have been successful in goals by committee. Look, I've got 2 more questions. We might not get both of them in, but I do want to ask this one because I heard Danny Murphy, I think it was Danny Murphy, talking on Talk Sport yesterday about how he believes that Arsenal's current crop of players are similar to the Invincibles. Now, I personally disagree with that. However, I wanted to ask this question about, and I think Marty kind of touched on it earlier on AFTV, about which previous Arsenal side does this crop of players remind you of? Now, I'm going to go first on this one because I was thinking about it earlier on. And I truly do believe that if I had to pick a team that, and I'm going to try and pick a successful team, I'm not going to pick like Arsenal in 2014 or something like that, won the FA Cup and that was it. I'm going to go with a successful team. I'm going to pick the 1998 side. And I'll tell you why I'm going to pick the 1998 side, okay? Because I look at the kind of scenario of what we had back then. We had one of the best goalkeepers in the league in David Seaman. I truly do believe David Raya is one of the best goalkeepers in the league. Defensively, we were absolutely sound, and that was really down to George Graham, not Arsene Wenger. However, we did have one of the best defenses in the league, and we've also currently got one of the best defenses in the league. And I don't want people to get this twisted and take it over the top, because I know people will. Petty and Vieira were unreal. And I haven't seen any sort of, wow, we've now got a Petty and Vieira. But I haven't seen a double pivot like this at Arsenal since then that I've been really happy with. And Mendy and Rice are that. And I'm not saying they're the Vieira and Petty. They're nowhere near that level. However, as a pair, 2 pistons of an engine, I see it with Vieira and Gilberto, but I saw it even better when it was Vieira and Petit. And I truly believe Mendy and Rice have been that for Arsenal this season. I think they've been able to dominate. And then I look at the attack, and I think, yeah, the attack's nowhere near as good. Obviously, we've got Saka, we had Overmars back then. Up top, we had brilliant players. But if I just read out to you the amount of goals we scored in the attack that season, Dennis Bergkamp has 16. I don't know if Gyokeres is going to get to 16, but he's kind of halfway there, just over halfway of the season. Overmars got 12. At the moment, Martinelli and Trossard are both kind of getting towards that. And Ian Wright and Anelka both got 16 combined. So Wright, he got 10 and Anelka got 6. So why I'm bringing that up is because it was kind of goals by committee in our attack. We didn't really have one that 50 goals or whatever it be, like a Haaland does or a Thierry Henry did for us. So that's why I'm going to go with that in terms of 1998. I don't know if that makes me sound a bit delulu, but I want you guys to come in with your thoughts.
I would totally agree with you on that, Dan. I definitely think this Arsenal side is more of a sort of George Graham side than an Arsene Wenger side. You know, George Graham was very much about defensive structure as well. Arsene Wenger was very free-flowing. We're not very free-flowing, you know. So, and, you know, reading out the stats, what you just said about the 98 team, I think that's probably about right. Kenny might know some more, though. Kenny might know some more. Go on, Ken.
No, I think you're right. I do agree with you that, you know, this current crop of teams. The thing about it is that it's just like having a bit of fun in it. because we really can't compare any of these players until they give me success.
Facts. I agree with
That's
that.
hard to say, but it is. But when you look at, Gabriel Magalhaes, there's a bit of a Sol Campbell about him.
Yeah.
In the way he thinks. I like the way he reminds me a lot of Sol Campbell. And then I look at midfield wise. Can any of these guys? Would any of these guys get in the greatest Arsenal teams of George Graham and Arsene Wenger? And I'm thinking, well, Gabriel Magalhaes will be as a defender, and then
Declan Rice, 100,000,000%.
Declan Rice definitely, because I know Arsene would like him in the side. I know George will absolutely love him. Would have loved him as well. And then I'm thinking about.
I think Timber is a shout as well.
Timber right back. Because you think about it, you had Lee Dixon, then we had Larry, Vicente, Inteme, Lorraine. So Timbers are definitely a great shout. But the left backs we had under Graham and
The left back is hard.
The left backs were world class. You know what I mean? And then
what about Raya?
Thing is, you've got Seaman and Lehman. They're better goalkeepers than Raya.
Yeah,
for me.
Okay, so let me comment on this. For me, this Arsenal side, and I've been thinking about this. For me, it's a bit of a hybrid. Like there's elements of these 1990, 96, 91, 2000, 2002, etc. sides are very similar to this side. And there's parts of this side, for example, defensively, there's parts of this side today, like in October, where we went the entire month of October without conceding a goal. And I think we had 2 shots. We faced 2 shots on target. So it's like very hybrid in the way it's a mix of, I could relate it to the 90s side. I could relate it to the 89 side. I could relate it to the 96 side or the 98 side, the Invincibles. But ultimately, I think as much as this side today reminds me of those sides until, because the football I'm watching right now, I can pick out, that point is like, that's like 91, or that point's like 98, or that point's like, but ultimately, until we get anything over the line and we get any jobs done, all those comparisons are sort of pretty fall away, and there might be sort of part and parcel and sort of very, that looks like that. But listen, what you got to understand about those sides is those sides got the job done. Those sides, like the 91 side, they weren't perfect, but they were infallible. They had their shortcomings and they didn't get everything right. And if you go back and watch those season reviews, like that, some of the games were a bit boring, or the football wasn't fantastic, but they got the job done. But then you go back and watch some of the flair football in the the 98 side, or even some of the Invincibles was boring. Some of the Invincible side, that some of that football. I remember. I think it was 98. We got beaten 4-1 when we won the league double. We got beaten at home by Charlton, and we were terrible.
That was 2002.
David Seaman was absolutely diabolical in that game. And do you know what? When people compare David Raya to David Seaman, listen, David Raya is a fantastic goalkeeper in the way that he makes a lot less mistakes than he concedes goals. He keeps a lot of clean sheets. But what also people forget is David Seaman did make mistakes. David Seaman, as infallible as he was, and as fantastic
towards the end of his career, though, don't you think towards the end of his career, Seaman was starting to make mistakes? And I think the same in Lehman as well. Because the thing about it, right, is that a lot of Arsenal fans, if you spoke to an Arsenal fan on a pod like this publicly, and they said to you, right, who's Arsenal's best ever keeper, Seaman or Lehman? They'll say David Seaman. If I got you on your own, off camera, it'll be up for debate.
Yeah, listen, Kenny, I get that. Like, listen, Lehman makes some mistakes. Like, they all keep goalkeepers and make mistakes. That's the thing with goalkeepers, right? But what separates the top goalkeepers and the elite goalkeepers from the good goalkeepers is the elite goalkeepers. They will make mistakes, right? But the elite goalkeepers, when they make mistakes, they shut them out and they don't make them. They don't make them again. They go again. Like, I remember watching David Seaman make some absolutely atrocious decisions in games and, fumble things or whatever. But then that would be it. But when you watch the likes of, say, Manuel Munia or Lucas Flapianski, when they make mistakes that they fold, or Aaron Ramsdale, when they make a mistake, this is what I love about David Raya. When David Raya makes a mistake, like, he owns it and he doesn't fold for the rest of the game. He will shut it out and he will be solid. Like, he doesn't. But whereas your Almunias, he'll make a mistake and he'll fold, and that's it. For the rest of the game, or maybe the next game or two. Same with Lucas Flapianski. But whereas your Lehmans and your David Seamans, your David Rayas, and where I could put David Raya in that category is because when they make a mistake, they recover from it.
What, John Lukic though? Because John Lukic,
yeah, same.
We never talk about John Lukic. He's in '89. For about when John Lukic actually took the gloves of Pat Jennings, he was very solid in a very kind of a spectacular way. But
is it true, Kenny? No one wanted Seaman at the time. No one wanted Seaman.
No. So what happened with that? What happened with that is the Arsenal fans were actually singing to David Seaman, "You'll never play for Arsenal."
Yeah,
right. It was Arsenal played QPR, and obviously Arsenal bought David Seaman. I think Kenny, correct me if I'm wrong, £3 million. And listen, don't forget, John Lukic was a fan's favourite in '89. He won us the league at Anfield. That monumental game, which was no one went to Anfield and even won, let alone by 2 clear goals. And Lukic was a fan favourite. And then obviously we won that game, as we know. And then in 1990, that season of 1990, George Graham was like, no, we're chipping it, turf him off, and we'll bring in David Seaman from QPR. And everyone was like, what are you doing here? It was like the Ramsdale and Raya situation.
We could have Marty. Do you remember back in the day? The transfer deadline actually ended at the end of the financial year, the 31st of March. So John Lukic was meant to go QPR.
Yep.
David Seaman was meant to go away, and Don Suter said, "I'm not going QPR." So David Seaman to join us in the summer, and then John Lukic went in the league. But the thing about it, John Lukic won the league in '92.
So what happened was David Seaman went to Arsenal in 1990, won the league with Arsenal, and then the season after, John Lukic won the league with Leeds. Which was nuts. It was crazy, and it was like, and that's. But listen, John Lukic was the top goalkeeper, but George Graham at the time saw something in John Lukic and saw David Seaman for what he was. And listen, there's minute, finite margins in the level of quality. John Lukic was a top goalkeeper, and David Seaman was a top goalkeeper. They all had mistakes in them. But
Seaman's elite though. John was a very competent goalkeeper, but when you think about the keepers, Pat Jennings is elite, right? Bob Wilson, very good goalkeeper. Pat Jennings is elite, even at the age of 32 when he bought him from Tottenham in '77. David Seaman's elite. Jens Lehmann's elite.
Yep.
And I think that if you win leagues in this country, your number one's got to be elite.
Yeah.
And Man City, Edison, elite. They've got Donnarumma elite, but they've got no defence. And Alisson's elite. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Peter Schmeichel's elite. You have to have elite goalkeepers in this to win the league in this Premiership. Petr Cech at Chelsea was elite.
It makes a difference. Like, let's take that game against Brighton, right? That we played. David Raya pulls off. If I'm honest with you, and I go to, like you, Dan, and you, Kenny, every game at the Emirates. That was probably the best save I have ever seen at that stadium that he pulled off right there. People don't understand how important that save was. Like, that was he doesn't make that, we don't win the game. And it was flat. It was flashbang. That before you know it, that's in the back of the net. He got a fingertip to it. It's over the, puts it over the bar. And it's those margins that a top level goalkeeper wins you. Like, listen, Kepa's a top goalkeeper, right? But against Portsmouth, that first goal, David Raya, it didn't matter. David Raya does not put that ball back into that danger area. Okay. Then against Chelsea, if I'm honest with you, those 2 goals do not get conceded with David Raya in goal.
Facts.
They just don't. The corner, I believe David Raya gets something on it, and the position, he doesn't get beaten at the near post, and that's it. But then also David Raya, does he make mistakes? Yeah, he does. But he recovers the mistakes he makes.
Tottenham, we won 4-1, but that goal was down to him, wasn't it?
There you go.
Yeah. Let me ask this last one, and then we will close because I'm conscious of time. This is a bit of a kind of tongue-in-cheek one, but I got a lot of abuse. Well, not abuse. I got a lot of slander. So, you only want 1 trophy. I want 4 trophies.
Cutting in. But if it's just the league, that do. Because I'll tell you one thing.
Okay, so let me finish the question because you're right. This is where, look, I want a trophy, right? I don't care really what it is, but I have an order of priority. I want it to be the league, the Champions League. And if it isn't that, I'll take the domestic cup. But with the position we are now, would 1 be enough? So go on, Kenny.
It has to be the league. If it's the league, because I think collectively as a fan base, and I don't use words like, oh yeah, let's all together and be friends. I use the word collectively. We worked our nuts off for this title. We've gone through the trophy that's given us the most heartache since 2022 is the league. We should have won it in 23. We should have won it in 24. We haven't won it for 22 years. But if you think about the Arteta years, the most recent years, where there has been a genuine shift from us from the top 4 side to a team that's capable of winning the title is the most important thing as well. I understand everything you guys say about the Champions League. I understand you want the stars in the shirt. You want to have Liverpool's Rome, Nottingham Forest's Munich, Aston Villa's Rotterdam, Chelsea's Munich. I get that and I respect that. And you want Celtic's Lisbon. But from what we've been through and the fact that it's the most important tournament and it's the hardest thing to win, if we only win the league, I'll be completely satisfied and I wouldn't lose any sleep about any quadruples because this is the thing that we get. Because if any debate you want to start about the greatest Arsenal teams, you can only talk about those teams if they win the league.
Yeah.
Facts. What are you saying, Marty? 1 trophy?
So do you know what, Dan, right? Look, would 1 trophy be enough? Listen, we go and do the Carabao Cup. Would it be enough? It's a trophy. If I'm honest with you, I want to win. I don't care what anyone else says. I want to win that trophy first and foremost, and that's what I'm looking at. That's the first trophy that we can win as Arsenal Football Club right here, right now. That is the next. We've got Chelsea. We're 3-2 up in the. And we don't get beaten at home. So that is. Then they're in a final with Man City with a crippled Rodri, and listen, they are not. Even bringing Gay into the side. Listen, they're 2 centre backs short of a top side. This is a team that got beaten comprehensively by Bodo Glimt. Listen, I understand it's Champions League football, but they got taken apart like they did against United. Would I be happy with any trophy? Yeah, I would. But if I'm honest with you, and this is how I look at the situation. When I look at all these like how I've just explained that competition, we're also 12 wins away from the Premier League. And in Europe, that football suits us perfectly. Like when, teams go on a counter-attack, we recover the ball and it goes again. The whole, it's not like the Premier League where you face teams, they sit on a low block against us and we've got to attack, and the ball gets recycled and we attack again. This Champions League football is free-flowing football. The FA Cup, look, we've got Wigan. I haven't fought that much. Would I like to win it? Yeah, because I think we've won it, 14 times, and it would make it 15th. And listen, that's our trophy. when I look at all these competitions and I look at Arsenal how they are, like I would genuinely be disappointed if we didn't. This could be like, and I hate to like, I don't say I hate to say it, but I went early this season saying we're going to win something. But when I look at this team now, like, there's no reason why we can't be a treble winning side. When I look at that Manchester United side that won the treble, like they weren't. And I watched that. I was there. I watched every game of Manchester United. I watched every Arsenal game. I was there. I watched the semi-final at Villa Park when Vieira gave that ball to Giggs and he run it down the left-hand side. Dixon should have tackled him and Seaman shouldn't have let that go in the back of the net. And that could have been us winning. A game like that changes the momentum of the season. We've got all the credentials to go and do some serious. This team, when I look at this Arsenal team, has every single bit of mineral that I would want for an Arsenal team to go down in history that wins the lot, or wins, a league. Do I believe we're going to win the Carabao Cup? Yeah, I do. And I believe we're going to win the Premier League. And do you know what? I think we have got a very good chance of this Champions League because of how it suits us. Would I be surprised if we won a treble? No, I wouldn't. But you do have to be grounded. There's a lot of football to be played. And does it favour us? Yes, it does. A lot can change. I don't even think right here, right now. We don't lose games. We don't. Like the draw again, and this is my point. The draw against Nottingham Forest at the weekend, right? I came away from that like disappointed, and we weren't even bad. It was just we didn't take our chances. We've lost Liverpool and we've lost to Villa last minute. Like the Szoboszlai free kick. They're the only two games we've lost this season. When I look at this Arsenal side, hands down, head and shoulder, there is not. I've watched Arsenal obviously for 40 years, right? And there's been throughout all these seasons games that I've just not fancied, and I've been like, oh, I don't fancy that one, or if we, in Europe, or if we come again, like last season, if I'm honest with you, the Real Madrid, I was like, I didn't fancy it, but I was like, oh, that's a tough game. This season, there is not a team that I do not fancy. I'm actually looking forward to every single game of football that we're playing. And I think that's my point. I'm intrigued to get to the end of this season and see how it pans out because of the total football that we're playing. This is total football. Like it is. Even when we're bad, we're still good. Like even when we're, average, we find a way to win. And, even when we're, but when we're great, we are fantastic. And we're smoked. And that last night against Inter Milan at the San Siro, like, wow, what performance. I just generally cannot wait to see the rest of the season, how it transpires. And yeah, I'd be very surprised if we do not come away with a couple of trophies at least.
We have to win. We have to win silverware, man. Look, let's come to a close. I'm just going to read out what I think the Man United team will be. The Arsenal team against Man United. Then we get predictions and close. Raya, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Timber, left back. That's what I think it will be. Zubimendi, Rice, Odegaard, Saka, Trossard, and Gyokeres. What do we think to the team that is the one I've read out, and what do we think to the prediction? Kenny, let's start with you.
Well, the team you worked out that's probably what's going to happen. In terms of the game itself, Man United have got a free hit. They've got nothing to work. They're only going to go for Europe. They've got organisation in their sides. They've got understanding of what's required of them off the ball, and they're going to play with runners at us. They're going to run us. But you know how to calm the nerves. If we get out of traps, what we haven't done in the league for a long, long time is that over 90 minutes, we haven't got out of traps and harried teams and gone after teams. It's very rare, but it's hard to do that in English football because all the teams we play against are so well organised and they're all they're all good in the ball because you wouldn't be able to play in the Premiership. You can't pass the bloody ball, can you? So when you think of Man United, there's a lot of things that risk in the Premier League. For instance, we need to get in Mainu's face. Mainu is a godsend. I don't know why he weren't playing, but he's going to be wanting to get on the ball, get into offensive areas, and try and make things happen. Fernandes as well to look for those passes, and you've got to watch the runners from the fullbacks and then the wings because Dogu, you've got Ahmad, you've got Darlow. Those are what we've got to watch. And they're going to try and get in their faces, disrupt the way we play to get in their faces. So that's where Declan Rice has to disrupt Casemiro, disrupt Mainu, stop Fernandes from making those passes and get those run. And then whilst doing that, we need to get in their face and make defence. On set pieces, we've got to watch their set pieces. Maguire is their Gabriel Magalhaes. We can do those disciplines right. We win this game. It's not going to be easy. But if we could just transfer a European form into the league, I'll be satisfied. But unfortunately, we've found it a bit difficult to do. But we still got over the line. But I do think that if you really want to calm the nerves, we need to start playing well in the league. And that's something we haven't been doing consistently. Because I always say, you get into bad habits, even though you're winning, they always catch up with you like I did in 23.
Facts. Marty, just quickly, what are you saying about the Man United game?
Look, I think, listen, Michael Carrick has very quickly introduced this Manchester United DNA that everyone's talking about. This, and I'll tell you what is Manchester United DNA. You score 3 goals, we'll score 4. But the thing with that is you ain't going to do that at the Emirates against Arsenal because that's not what we do. Like we this is our fortress. This year, this is our fortress. I fancy anyone, let alone a disjointed Manchester United side. Don't get me wrong, they absolutely destroyed City. City, I think at the moment are falling off. That's God's honest truth. I think Pep's done. I think he's finished. He knows he's not going to be here at the end of the season, and his job here is done. He's done it with Barcelona, Bayern Munich, where the places he's been. He's done a fantastic job with City, but I think his time's up, and I think he knows it. And Manchester United, that result against City was, listen, they were fantastic, but I think it's flattering. They come here and play free-flowing football. We will take them apart because anyone that comes to the Emirates and plays that style of football, they get absolutely destroyed. We've done it to Bayern Munich, we've done it to Atletico Madrid, we've done it to Tottenham, we've done it to Aston Villa. That's what we're about. Don't get me wrong. Listen, it's a huge game. It's a big game. It's Super Sunday. These are the games in the Premier League that I love. This is Arsenal versus Manchester United. It is a huge, and even more so now. They're finding form. They're doing well. They've picked up some points. Amarin's out. They've got a system. They're looking to obviously get one up on us. But ultimately, I think we're going to be far too strong with them. For them, and we're going to get the job done. We know we need to, and we get the win, then all we need to do is find another 11 wins on our way to the title, and it's going to be a fantastic game. I think the atmosphere is going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to be a game to watch. It's going to have everything for a football fan to watch and enjoy football. But listen, you cannot doubt this Arsenal team. I'd be very surprised if they got one over on us. I'd be very surprised if we don't get the job done because this is what we're doing. On the back of that Inter Milan result as well, wow. We're on fire. It's as simple as that. And I don't think it's going to be like the Liverpool game or the Forest game. I think they're going to come, they're going to fancy it, and so are we. And I think we're going to get the points. And that's it.
Okay. Look, I'll say quickly what I think. I think if Man United come and park the bus, they could get sank because we found it difficult to break down low blocks before. But I don't think Man United actually will. I think Man United might come and play, and I think that works into our hands. And I think we will nick this 2-1. What are you going score prediction quick, Marty, and then Kenny and we'll close. What are you saying, Marty?
I'm going to go 3-1. I like what you're saying. they're not going to park the bus at all. They're going to come and play. They're going to go for it. They've got nothing. I say nothing to lose. I think it's going to be it's going to be an exciting game. It's going to be free flowing football, and we're going to get the job done. And that's if they get one against us, because again, we've got the best defence in the league and Europe, and that's it. I'd give them a 1 just to be kind, but I think it's going to be an awesome game of football.
Okay, Kenny.
I'm going for 1-0 to Arsenal because I think there's going to be a bit of spice in it. You know, I'm sure there's going to be a pork chop in a Man United defence with his hands up, not keeping his hands to himself. You might get a penalty in there, but set piece. You know, it could be set piece again. You know, so you never know. But it's going to be a game where it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be one of those things where Man United are going to work their nuts off. But I think Man United will try and get the balance right between being offensive and being remembering who they're playing. They're playing a team that thrives in teams that leave space and allow themselves to get outnumbered on the counter attack. So Man United have to be careful of that, because remember, you know, you got Maguire's not very quick. You got this Martinez. He's good on the ball. He doesn't want numbers running at him, so they've got to be able to marry that up. And if they don't, and they don't resist the temptation to go authentic, more full, then we'll smash them. But I just think that Carrick is no man's fool, mate. He'll be an absolute pork chopper if he didn't watch the Liverpool game and not the Forest game. Because any team that plays any other way than that, they're a bunch of pork chops. They'll get hammered.
Go on, Kenny. Go on.
Fair play, man.
But
Fair
basically,
play,
in Kenny language, that's you come to the Emirates, you're getting smashed. That's what you're saying, Kenny. Don't come here and start thinking you're going to give it. You are getting ironed out the Emirates.
Big up to Lee for the raid, man. I was literally about to raid you, but I didn't realize you'd finished. So I'm going to send you over to Loaded Mag in UFC to show Pete some love and the boys. Go and say up the Magpies, man. Say one tonight. So go and show Pete some love, please, people. He supports this channel amazingly.
Dave, can I say something, right? So perverse is happening.
Go on.
5 Premiership teams are in the top 8.
I know.
Except Man City. Can you imagine the humiliation that Spurs and Newcastle won't have to go in the playoffs, but Man City have to?
I'd love it. It'd be bloody funny.
Well,
not
win out all their games. Man City are in the playoffs. How perverse.
Crazy, eh? Crazier things have happened. Listen, we are going to get out of here, people. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Marty, shout out how people can follow you, bruv.
Marty Ovens 1 on Instagram and TikTok. Marty AFTV on TikTok. But yeah, thank you.
Nah, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate you. Much love. And Kenny Ken on Instagram, people, just type him in. You'll see all of his match reactions and all his content up there. Go show Pete some.
Big up yourself, Dan Potts. Doing your thing, as always. The 12th man of football. Go on, man.
You never asked me what I'm up to, mate.
Nah, come on, man. Appreciate you guys. I really do.
You don't ask me what I'm up to.
Oh, what are you up to?
I'll tell you, after I finish this, I'm going to probably watch old videos of Jerry Springer and all those little fights.
I thought he was going to say I'm going to bed or something like that. But no, I'm going to stay up till 3 in the morning.
Jerry.
Never change, man. Never change, Kenny. Never change. But now, listen. Do smash like on this one. Do hit subscribe. We've got nowhere near enough likes on this, so make sure we get the likes up. Make sure we hit subscribe. We need people to subscribe so we can get to 60,000 is the next target. We're getting there slowly. I'll be back tomorrow.
Last time I was on here, it was about 40,000. Now you're going into stratospherical numbers. You ain't messing around.
It's the work rate, isn't it, mate? It's the work rate.
He loves it, mate. Listen, Dan Potts' UAV monitor and heat map is like no other on YouTube. This guy's everywhere. I turn my YouTube on and it's just Dan Potts, the 12th man. He's everywhere.
Mate, I'll try to be, man.
Turkish invited you on his new show yet? Because I ain't seen you on that yet.
What's that? I ain't been invited, mate.
What's that?
I haven't seen you on Turkish's new chat show, so Or have you been on it?
Oh, what? Lad, I did go on Turkish show, the Loose Cannons. I did go on there a few weeks ago, actually. Yeah, it was wild.
I don't know what I was doing. I was probably watching YouTube videos of Jerry Springer.
He'll definitely ask you on, I'm sure, mate. He's getting guests and stuff on, so you'll be stopping watching Jerry Springer. You'll get a chance to go on there, mate.
Jerry.
But big up to everyone, man. We're gonna love you and leave you. Go show Pete some love now, and we'll see you next time. We're out of here. Take care, people. Peace.